I'm ready to move on to the next one. And then we see inside, again, the same book, Sunan Ibn Majah, where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "The hour will not begin until you fight a people with small eyes, wide faces, as if their eyes and pupils are of locusts, and as if their faces are like hammered shields. They'll be wearing shoes of hair, using leather shields." Remember that they're using leather shields and tying their horses to the date palm of the tree. Now, the date palm, for those who are familiar with Islamic theology, people think of the moon and the star as a symbol of Islam. But in reality, the date palm is a symbol of Islam. So what they're saying here is that these people will be invading the Muslim lands. And sure enough, about 300 years later, after this, 600 years later, after this prophecy was made, we had a group of people with small eyes like locusts, flat faces, leather shields, and the prophet said they will be horsemen that did invade the Muslim lands. Now maybe you can say, okay, well, you can argue that, that the racial features aren't really like that. But the thing which cannot be denied here, Muhammad said, they will have shields made of leather. And that is exactly what we find. When we look at the history, and again, this goes, let me find that reference for you. The Empire of the Mongols by Michael Bergen. It stated that all soldiers carried a shield made of wicker and leather, referring to the Mongolian soldiers that invaded the Middle East 600 years after this prophecy was made. So once again, we see another accurate statement.
Gog and Magog, or Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, were ruthless tribes who swooped through valleys, killed, pillaged, and withdrew. They needed to be cordoned off from humanity behind a barricade that they could neither scale nor dig through. Gog and Magog were human descendants of Noah's son Japheth, peace be upon them both, from whom arose the Turkic, Slavonic, Mongol races. The Prophet, peace be upon him, described them as being well built, having red hair, small eyes, and wide, flat, shield-like faces. They asked him to build a barrier, to dam the hordes for payment, but he said Allah had already enriched him well. He only required their manpower, and being the first ever person to shake hands, his diplomacy made the team gel. He asked blacksmiths to cast iron blocks, a kintar, or 50 kilograms each, then stack them with wood and bellow them red. Then molten copper was poured over the wall until it resembled a black and red striped thobe, a Sahaba later said. Barriers built to lock out Mongols and Tartars have been confused with Dhul-Qurnayn's, such as China's Great Wall. Others include the Alexander and Caspian Gates, Pass of Dariel and Derbent, but none match the actual one at all. Just like Dhul-Qurnayn's real name, the Jews say it's Abimelech, or my father is king, the wall remains secreted, and even if discovered, it will remain as Allah wills, and claiming to know better than Allah will leave us defeated. In error, some say the wall is in ruins and Gog and Magog are Khazar Jews, but against the Sunnah is such a view. Allah said the wall is a mercy and will remain intact until the undefeatable Gog and Magog swarms break through. A clear proof is that Allah will tell Jesus to climb Mount Sinai to avoid people against whom none will be able to fight, and hadith reveal at that time Jesus would have destroyed the Dajjal and his followers, and the Sunnah guides aright. During the Prophet's, peace be upon him's time, a digit-sized hole appeared in the wall behind which the evil tribes daily chip it away. When the idiots see sunlight, they back off to return every next day to find it refortified until one fateful day. It is really a mercy that Ya'juj wa Ma'juj don't carry on digging when they see sun rays or work during the night. But when Allah intends, one will say, we'll break through tomorrow inshallah and wreak havoc and global blight. For at that time, when Jesus has descended and destroyed the Dajjal and united the whole world together in Islam, Allah will cause the most beneficial man-made structure to crumble to dust and allow Gog and Magog to cause harm. They will surge like crashing waves, swarming stealthily from every mound, pouncing upon any believers they see, free from their barrier, vengeful and vile. There are so many of them that they will drink dry the Sea of Galilee. Cynically, Gog and Magog are touted as the protectors of London and paraded in the mayor's show as traditional fun. Yet when the barbarians are really let loose and begin their indiscriminate killing spree, in horror they'll be undone. After killing many land-dwelling people, they will hurl spears skywards that will return with blood and then exclaim, we've even killed the inhabitants of the sky. Allah knows best if they are jinn UFOs or man-made aeroplanes. Only the fortified will survive, and 12,000 or so with Jesus, peace be upon him, will climb Mount Sinai or Tur near Tabuk and hold out. Jesus will then beseech Allah, and he will send neck-burrowing worms to destroy Gog and Magog as if in one shout. A brave believer will scout them and be delighted to find them all dead. Allah will then cleanse the earth with rain. He will send huge birds with necks like camels to remove their corpses, and thus will begin Jesus' glorious reign. The believers will use the bows and arrows of Gog and Magog for 7 years as a means of fuel, heat and light. Allah's reign will cause miraculous yields of livestock and fruits, and such a peaceful world will be a beautiful sight. Jesus will live either for 7 years until he's 40 or 40 years until he's 73, after he returns aged 33 from the skies. During his reign, he'll marry, perform Hajj in Mecca, and be buried next to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he dies. On the last day, 999 out of every 1,000 humans, mostly from Gog and Magog, will be set aside to enter hellfire, indicating that they are disbelievers and have been growing in number unbeknown to us, and their ending is dire. Dhul-Qurnayn's summary in the Quran shows the qualities of a great leader, strong in faith, diplomacy and might. His goal was not fame, power or money, but to guide the ignorant into a way of life pleasing to Allah.